Hey everyone, welcome to Pokédex, the channel where I build decks for the Pokemon trading card game. Today we're going to be building a deck around Genesect TX. This is quite an interesting card from Fates Collide, our newest set, because when I first saw it, I didn't think it would be that great. I thought it was like, we could play it as a one-off in a metal decks, but metal decks weren't that great back then, so I just forgot about Genesect TX for a little while, Well, I think this all started in the podcast Theoremon. As you guys probably know by now, I'm hosting a podcast with my friend João Lopes. Last episode, we had Joe from Team Omnipoke as a guest, and we were discussing the meta after Fates Collide. And João actually got in a little bit of an argument with Joe. I was kind of on Joe's side on that. It's actually quite the fun moment, I think. They go at it, where João is defending Genesect TX, saying that he's going to build a quad Genesect deck, and it's going to be great. And of course, me and Joe are really skeptical, and we're like, "What are you saying, dude?" I think it's quite a moment, so I urge you guys to go listen to the podcast. But actually, that same weekend, I went to my local game store to play in a tournament, and I got beat by a Genesect TX deck, like a dedicated deck, which is quite similar to the one I'm going to show you guys. Actually, the pilot of that deck was my friend Oscar Batalha. He's also a Portuguese player that's qualified for Worlds by now. And actually, if you guys are followers of this channel, you probably remember my Turbo Palkia deck, and he's the co-author on that deck. If you guys remember the story, we were both kind of bummed out that we lost on the first day on the ECC, so we kind of took the newest expansion at the time, which got Palkia EX in there, and we were trying to build around Palkia and Max Elixir and all that. And I think the deck was quite fun and quite good. I actually won some money and cards on that deck. But then, actually, I lost to Oscar, as I was saying, when he was playing a Genesect TX deck, and it's actually quite similar to the Palkia deck, because it's also a turbo deck, and you want to get all your EXs out really quickly, and you actually play Max Elixir in here. He plays 4 Max Elixirs, and quite a lot of energy, actually. And the interesting thing about this deck, I guess, is the presence of Max Elixir and the absence of Battle Compressor, which most people play in the Bronzong decks. I think he figured that you don't really need to accelerate energy into the discard pile. You will just naturally discard them so that you can bring them back with Bronzong. And after playing the Bronzong break deck, actually, that I've shown you guys on this channel, I have to say that I kind of agree. We don't really need to accelerate energy most of the times. We will naturally discard them with Ultra Balls and by using Genesect's attack. So yeah, I guess it does make sense, and it did make sense when he beat me. So I decided to build a deck for you guys to show you. I have some changes, I guess, from his list, which I didn't really quite see, but I played 3 matches against him, so I think I have a pretty good idea. So yeah, the props to Oscar Batalha, one of the best Portuguese players at the moment, for sure, and props for his also really crazy list, and I'm going to try to squeeze something out of it for you guys, and I think it's quite a fun deck, actually. Quite an ingenious piece, and I think it's quite different from most Genesect TX decks you'll find online, so that's always a plus for me as far as showing you guys decks. So let's start off with, I guess, the Genesect TX. We are playing 3, or not the 4 that João Lopes suggested. I don't think we need 4. Maybe we could even cut them to 2, but they're so important that if one of them gets priced, sometimes we might run into trouble. But yeah, we're playing 3 Genesect. We're kind of bummed out because I felt a need to squeeze an Aegislash in here. Mighty Shield just seems wonderful, and sometimes we don't really need to discard energy for the attack, and it's better to just use Slash Blast over and over again. For example, if we're playing against a deck that can cut our ability to bring the energy back with Bronzong, it's just better to have the Aegislash. Of course, Mighty Shield, just wonderful attack, so that Night March has to pull the X-Maniac, for example, to be able to kill our guy, so that's also quite nice. So yeah, I kind of felt that I wanted to squeeze one of these guys in here, but we generally only need 3 attackers, mostly. We also have another attacker in Lugia. I know Oscar wasn't playing one, but I think the deck kind of needs something against Carbink, the safeguard one, because all our attackers are EX Pokemon. I guess we could play a Bronzong break, but that's kind of a little bit more inconsistent in my opinion. I think Lugia is awesome against Carbinks, because it just means that the opponent has to put something else down. I mean, Carbink on its own with Safeguard it doesn't deal a lot of damage to Lugia. You're basically, with resistance and the ability pressure, you're protecting yourself from 40 damage. So if they only have one strong energy in there, and they have a muscle band, and they use the first attack, they're only dealing 20 damage to Lugia, which is not that lot actually. And with intensifying burn, we are 2-hitting them, which isn't great. It's not the best thing ever, but it's also a passable attacker against an EX. I mean, we're only trading one prize away if we're playing against an EX deck, and we're dealing 120. So it's kind of like a Buffalant, right? In those situations. But yeah, it's mostly here because it does force the carving player to put something else down. If nothing else, like the Regirock EXs that we can then Lysander and kill. So it just forces them to have other Pokemon on the table that we can then play around. We have a lot of draw in terms of Pokemon. So we have 2 Shaymin EX and 1 Upa EX. We kind of have to be careful because we need the bench space. Some matchups we only need 1 Bronzong and that's fine. Others we need 2. Rarely do we need 3. But I guess if we manage to pull them all, it's awesome. But yeah, it's not the most important thing in the world, I guess, because we're just so quick. Sometimes just pulling like a single Bronzong is enough. But yeah, we kind of have to be careful with the bench space. We do have an AZ in here, which is quite important actually, to bring one of the guys back at some point in the game. But actually, because the opponent also takes knockouts obviously on our guys, we don't really mind. Like if they Lysander out a Shaymin, we're just super glad of that because generally it makes our ends better, and it just frees us space in our bench. So sometimes we need to take a breather and we just throw a Shaymin in there, let our opponent take a knockout sometimes, and just charge up our guys. So we that's all the Pokemon. Well, I guess we do play the 3/3 Bronzong line that I just mentioned, and as I said, sometimes 1 is enough, sometimes 2 are enough, 3 not that many times. So I guess just playing a 3/3 line is okay. We have 4 Max Elixir, as I mentioned. It's one of the features of this deck, one of the most exciting things, and they pair up really nicely with our 12 energy. It's not 14 energy like the ones that we were playing in the Palkia deck. So sometimes we do miss. I'm not saying that the Palkia deck didn't miss sometimes, because it did, obviously, still with 14. With 12, we're close to that number, but yeah, sometimes we just miss, but I think it's enough. I mean, if we miss a Max Elixir here and there, it's not the end of the world. We're playing 1 Starling Megaphone. If I could add an extra card to this deck, it would be a 2nd Starling Megaphone, just because it's awesome to get rid of Fighting Fury Belts, which sometimes just present a little bit of trouble for us. It's not really in the Night March decks that it troubles us. Like most of the times we're playing 2 Starling Megaphones because you want to get rid of the Fighting Fury Belts in Night March decks, but here we're just naturally good against Night March decks because we're hitting, well, not naturally good, we're just natural, we don't have to put too much effort in killing Night Marchers anyways, even with Fighting Fury Belts. That's what I mean. So Starling Megaphone is good for like EX decks that play the Fighting Fury Belt, so we get rid of those. So if I could, I would definitely play a 2nd of this. I am playing 1 Super Rod. It helps us bring back one of our attackers like Dagislash or the Lugia that already died. Sometimes we get awkward hands with like Sycamore and we have to discard like a Bronzong and something like that. Also, sometimes we just shuffle energy even with Bronzong in play, because then it makes our Max Elixirs more likely to hit. So sometimes that also happens. So it's a decent card. I like having 1 here. If nothing else, because of the one-offs of Aegislash and Lugia. We have 4 Trainer's Mail. I want to play the speedy deck, so that's why I have the Lugias and the Shaymin and the Max Elixir in here. So 4 Trainer's Mail, 4 Ultra Ball, of course, 4 VS Seeker. You guys know how that works. And as far as supporters go, we are playing 1 AZ. As I mentioned, it's really important just to get a guy out of the active position if the opponent Lysanders it out, or if we start with a Shaymin or a Hoopa. Of course, we also get it out of the bench if we need the extra bench space, and also allows us to, if we have a Bronzong in play, just get some energy out of one Pokemon that we already charged, and we don't really want the energy there anymore. So sometimes it also can do that. So it's really nice to have AZ around. It does a lot of stuff for this deck. We have 2 Lysander, and then 3 N and 4 Professor Sycamore as far as card drawing goes, and that pairs really well with all the Pokemon and the other trainers that we have as far as card drawing goes. As I mentioned, I really wanted to play Muscle Bands in here, but the deck is so stuffed with cards that I guess we have to choose between Muscle Band and Fighting Fury Belt, and Fighting Fury Belt is just better because of Night March. That's basically what it comes down to. Of course, it also helps against Greninja, but because I mean, it doesn't really matter if we had 20 or 10 damage against Greninja. You guys, it's really quick to do the math. So it's 100 damage plus 10 from the Fighting Fury Belt. So we only need to discard 1 energy. That's 130. With the Muscle Band, it would be exactly the same because both the Greninja and Greninja breaks have odd HP, I guess. It's not odd, but if you divide it by 10, it's odd number. You know what I mean. So we don't really need the 20 damage instead of the 10. But against, I guess, EX decks, the Muscle Band would be better. But yeah, we kind of had to opt between the two, so I went with Fighting Fury Belt. It's just better against most stuff. We are playing 3 Floatstone. It's awesome. It's an awesome tool to have around. And I didn't really mention this before, but Genesect EX also has an ability which is quite nice. Drive Change allows us to just bring a tool that we have attached to Genesect to our hand. So we can actually pull some crazy stuff with this guy. We can bring the Fighting Fury Belt, drop a Floatstone, and retreat into the second Genesect and just drop the Fighting Fury Belt on that one instead. And then next turn we can repeat the process and do it again. So we can just switch between Genesects. We want to keep some of these in our hands so that we can choose and trade between them. So that's quite nice because after we put one of the tools down into another Pokemon that is not a Genesect, we cannot bring it back to our hands anymore. So we kind of have to be careful with that. It also allows us to save tools from Professor Sycamore. So we just drop them on Genesects, even if we don't really want them there. And then we just bring them back after we play the Sycamore. So that's quite nice. And then, as I mentioned, 12, not 4, Metal Energy, which round up the deck really nicely. And that's it. That's a list. Let's play it. And we got a match against the Psychic Colorless deck. I don't really know what to expect. So maybe it's Trevenant. Okay, we lost a coin flip. Our opponent is going first. And if he's indeed playing Trevenant, we are kind of in a pickle. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's what I mean. Let's see what happens here. So it seems like our opponent is taking a mulligan. Yeah, it's Trevenant for sure. I mean, Wally, Bursting Balloon. Be really surprised if it was anything else than Trevenant. Maybe he's also playing Alakazam in there. I've seen some people play that list like Trevenant and Alakazam. Don't want to bench anything else because just this Bronzong. I mean, if my opponent ends, that means he's not walling on the first turn, so we don't really care too much. But we do indeed see a Phantom in there. So he's playing a Trainer's Mill. Let's see what happens. Nothing happens. Okay, so my opponent maybe has a Sycamore or maybe just didn't found the item. Ugh, Headringer. That means Aegislash is going nowhere soon. I mean, it's going to take a million years for this guy to do anything. And we see a Wally. We do have a Lysander, so maybe my opponent benches something and we can get out of this. But at this point, we don't even have any items that allow us to draw cards. So, see a Battle Compressor for my opponent. Getting rid of some stuff there. And discard some supporters, I guess. So okay, so what do I do here? I think I'm going to play the energy because why the hell not? Might throw a couple of other energy and we are able to retreat maybe, but this is not looking great. I did not bench any Pokemon because okay, so my opponent benched another Pokemon, so that's cool for us, and he did not play an energy in the first or second turns. Okay, so that's nice. I'm going to put the Bronzord down because next turn I can evolve into a Bronzong, and that's an extra card that I'll draw off of this Shaman. So maybe I can just put the Genesect down. Not this turn, I mean next, because my opponent could actually attack us this turn, and I don't want 30 extra damage going on the Genesect for no reason. And then we Lysander. Oh, actually, we can't Lysander out that Wobbuffet, actually, because then we can't play the Shaman. Oh, we see a Shaman EX for my opponent, so that's perfect for us. If he puts it down, and it looks like he is, okay. So he's in fact going to try to find an energy here. My opponent decides to not give us any more time. Although we didn't really have anything, but we are going to Lysander that Shaman. evolve into Bronzong, play the Genesect EX, and then play the Shaman. And we can also play our items actually, so we can try to hit Max Elixir and draw a lot of cards here. So that's nice. That's going to hopefully be a nice turn for us. My opponent did not play a supporter, if I remember correctly. So maybe, yeah, he can also end us here. And that, okay, there's a Sycamore. It's actually quite better. You only need to find an energy, and there's the energy. I'd be really surprised if my opponent failed after a Shaman for 6 and then a Sycamore. That would be insane. There's a level ball. Maybe he plays it? Yeah. At this point, I mean, I could Lysander out the Phantom or the Shaman. I think Lysandering out the Phantom is a little bit worse, because then my opponent could just play an energy there and maybe evolve and just save energy. And if I Lysander out the Shaman, he has to retreat from the Shaman. So, okay, so I put this guy down, and I'm going to play the Genesect. And, oh, actually we drew the Sycamore, so I don't think I Lysander here. I mean, you could play our items, but I don't think they are that important. I think I'd just rather Sycamore. Yeah, this way I don't bench the Shaman. That would be extra scary, because in 4 turns that's 2 prizes. And I don't think I bench this guy over here. I just think I play the energy. Yeah, I'm not going to put it down. It's in a couple of turns it's dead, so I'm just going to pass the turn. Also, this Bronzong is going to die in a couple of turns, so don't need to give my opponent extra prizes. Okay, we see an evolution from his side. You know what I'm going to do next turn? I'm going to play the AZ and bring the AG Slash to my hand. And that means that, well, I can't promote the Genesect, but I can promote the Bronzong and just put the energy on Genesect. And then after my opponent kills the Bronzong, I can actually play the Sycamore and hopefully hit an energy. So that's what I'm going for. And I put the Bronzor down right now because I will need to evolve next turn into the Bronzong that I have in my hand before I play the Sycamore. So we are unfortunately going to take 30 damage on our Bronzor and our Genesect before we can do anything else here, but oh well, I guess I have to do this. My opponent is going to draw a prize. Okay, we see a Bursting Balloon. Just kind of suspecting that we're going to attack him next turn, and rightfully so. I mean, we have a Genesect TX getting ready, and at this point we have, I guess, 10 energy left. Some of them can be prized, but I think I like my chances of drawing an energy here. Okay, we see a Lysander, which isn't the greatest thing because we are going to discard it, but I don't think I can end here. I just need to make sure that I hit the energy. Okay, we see 2 energy actually, so that's quite nice. Going to put them on Genesect, and I think I attack. Yeah, I'm going to take damage from the Bursting Balloon, but there's really nothing else I can do here. So I just have to discard all the energy, right? Yeah, 60. Bam, I kill his dude, I take 60. It's quite scary actually. If my opponent just promotes the other Trevenant and just goes for the break again, I might be in trouble, because in 2 turns I lose both of my guys. He promotes the Wobbuffet. I guess he has a Floatstone, so he can retreat for free. That doesn't say much, but I just hope he attacks with Wobbuffet, honestly. Oh, and he's attacking with Wobbuffet. That's actually super good for us. We are losing a Genesect, but we are actually able to play all these items, so that's quite nice. And we draw another energy, so this Ultra Ball is going to discard, I guess, the Sycamore, and I guess this thing. We maybe should have discarded an energy actually, because I'm thinking I'm going to play this VS Seeker for an N, because I will end my opponent to 3. So maybe I should have left the Sycamore in the deck instead of an energy. I don't know. Let's see what happens. We hit energy here. Actually, if we hit the second elixir, we can attack with Genesect, so maybe having the energy in there is actually better. So yeah, let's go for the N. I'm going to draw 5 cards. Hopefully we draw into a max elixir and hopefully hits, but we also need a Floatstone. Oh wow, we have the Floatstone and 2 Trainer's Mail, so let's cross our fingers. Let's hope. Yeah, we have 2 max elixir left. Let's hope we hit 1. Okay, there's 1. That's really exciting here. Let's go Trainer's Mail. Okay, I'll go for the VS Seeker. Actually, should have maybe played the max elixir, although... Okay, we really need this thing to hit. Yeah, it does. Okay, perfect. So I wanted to make sure that we drew an energy, so as we want to get rid of as many items as possible, let's get this thing while we can. And let's just wreck my opponent's game. I don't need to play the Startling Megaphone, so might as well just use Rapid Blaster 110. Alright, let's just kill that Wobbuffet. That was a really good play. So I was thinking that I play the Max Elixir, the Trainer's Mail first, because that gets rid of an item. But maybe I should have played the Max Elixir, because if we hit another Max Elixir or a Sycamore, I kind of had to choose between them. And that would be kind of a painful thing. So I needed to see if the Max Elixir hit before. Okay, so my opponent just concedes here. That was actually quite a quick match, although we kind of stumbled in a little bit in the beginning. I kind of got a little bit lucky in there this turn, but yeah, just goes to show how powerful this deck can be if given a turn to be explosive. But this isn't a typical game for this deck. I want to try another match, I guess, see if we can hit a game where we actually go off quickly like this deck is supposed to. So I guess I'll see you guys for a second match. Alright, we got ourselves a second match against the Metal and Lightning and Water deck. So maybe this is a Mega Manetric Toolboxy deck. And maybe he plays like Glacians and Jolteons, I don't know. That would kind of be a problem for us, Jolteon. We don't really have a way to deal with that other than Lysandering stuff out, so maybe should be playing an X-Maniac in here. And we start off with a Shaman, which isn't great. Let's see what happens. We do have the AZ in hand, and we do have a... okay, so we see a Jirachi. Don't really know what to expect. What? Froakie? What is the lightning type that my opponent is playing? I'm really confused right now. Do I play the Trainer's Mail, or do I just discard it for the Ultra Ball? I think we can play it, because I think I can discard the energy and the Floatstone. Okay, we see another Max Elixir. I actually really like that, so I'm going to discard, I guess, the Floatstone, and because I'm going to draw more cards, right? So I don't really mind discarding one of those, actually. So I'm going for the Hoopa here. I think I need explosiveness, and we do have the EZ as I mentioned, so yeah. I'm going to grab a couple of Genesect and a Shaman. I'm going to draw a lot of cards this turn. Hopefully the elixirs hit, because we need some quickness to our game. Let's hit our first elixir, and it fails. Oh, that sucks. Maybe the second one hits, and yeah, it does. Okay, yeah, we fail sometimes. Kind of sucks. So let's just go play this Shaman and draw. Oh man, I made a mistake actually. I should have played the Floatstone in the Genesect, because I could bring it back to my hand, so it wouldn't matter too much. It was 100% a mistake. I should have drawn an extra card out of this. I'm kind of bummed, but oh well, you can't really do anything else, so let's just play this AZ on the Shaman. Let's promote, I guess, this Genesect right now, because we can just Floatstone it. And I guess I can draw 3 cards. And let's see what happens. Okay, decent hand, I guess. I'm just going to bring the Floatstone to my hand, because I don't want to get megaphoned and lose it, so just making the most that I can here. I mean, the opponent can end us, and we shuffle the Floatstone back, but we have 3 in our deck, so I'd just rather have it, I think, than just lose it just for having it on the Genesect. So my opponent evolves. Oh yeah, I was kind of distracted. He actually played a turn and he just passed, right? Yeah, that happened because he just evolved here. So yeah, maybe if we were a little bit luckier, we could have attacked his Jirachi. I was actually distracted because he didn't play any energy. I thought I was going first because I'm talking to you guys, so sometimes I get distracted. Okay, we see actually a decent hand. I mean, we were forced to end, but I do want to play this thing. I will discard the energy and the Lysander. Maybe shouldn't discard the energy actually. I'm just thinking that this thing is going to be super important, and I'm kind of hoping that my opponent just retreats from the Jirachi and promotes the Froakie, because that way it would have been like I play the Lysander. So maybe against the Greninja decks, I guess what happens is, if I could pull an Aegislash, it would be awesome, because with 4 energy on it and a Fighting Fury Belt, we can actually hit for 130, and we don't have to discard the energy, right? So that's cool. But if my opponent actually gets to Greninja break, we actually want the Genesect instead, because with a Fighting Fury Belt for 3 energy, you can actually one-hit it and make it a little bit harder for my opponent. And at the same time, he wants to use Shadow Stitching every single turn, so that's kind of like a risky proposition for my opponent. So he kind of has to opt between using Shadow Stitching and not deal a lot of damage to our guys, or just lose his guys every single turn, because we're powering up our dudes with Bronzong, I guess. So I guess what happens here is the opponent just gets in a lose-lose situation, hopefully. That's how we go with our game. So there's a Muscle Band, and there's a Sycamore. Okay, so very nice hand for my opponent. He deserves a high five for playing a Sycamore with an empty hand. And we see another Froakie coming. Okay, I guess because he's not using the Frogadiers, I guess that's another option. You can just play the basics and evolve them, of course. And we see a Shadow Stitching for 40, I guess 60, yeah, because he has a Muscle Band. And okay, we drew the energy. That's perfect, actually. We can't use the Bronzong, but I'm obviously going to put it down, because why the hell not? And then I'm going to put this thing here, and I'm going to put this thing here, and we basically just need to draw an energy here just to make sure that next turn... Oh, okay, so we actually have to hand. My opponent has 6 cards in hand, so it doesn't really matter too much. We can actually end kind of safely. I mean, we don't really know. We can't predict if my opponent is drawing better or not, so it doesn't matter. Can't really focus too much on that. So let's just attack here. And I guess I discard 1 energy with the Rapid Blaster. Yeah, 110, 130. So we kill his Greninja. This is cool, because this is pressuring our opponent. We're forcing him to have cards. So he needs, I guess he needs the Greninja. And he's also not getting to the Greninja break yet, unless he wallies. So that's kind of good for us at the same time. So see another Froakie. And we see an evolution for the Frogadier. Okay, that's cool for my opponent, because that means he doesn't need to use his Frogadier. So I guess he's shuffling stuff back, so maybe using his Frogadier right now. Maybe he isn't, I don't know. We see a Stadium, which doesn't really care too... We don't really care too much. Okay, we see an Ace Trainer, that we do care about. We're getting Ace Trainer down to 3, so I just need to draw an energy here, and I'll be a very happy man. There's a Sycamore, so... I'm kind of hoping we draw an energy out of that. There's also Max Elixir, which I'm actually split. I don't know if I'm going to play it or not, but I think we do need to play it, because if we just get to 2 energy on each Genesect, that's just super good. If my opponent doesn't get to the Greninja break, we just keep hitting 130 every single turn with our Genesects. And I think that's super good. I mean, this Genesect that we have promoted as... Oh, he actually evolves into the other Greninja, the X and Y one, which is awesome. So it means if my opponent is attacking us here, which I think he is, because he played the energy on this guy, yeah, he's attacking. So we're not... actually, we managed to get a turn that we can actually use the items, sorry, the abilities, so that's awesome. Oh, we got a Super Rod. That's actually cool. So we have 3 energy in the discard pile. So I guess I get 1 energy with the Metal Links, and then I shuffle the other 2 back, which just gives me more chances to draw with the Max Elixir and the Sycamore. So that's hopefully going to be awesome. Just having this turn is so good here. Let's just shuffle the energy back. This was really awesome. Let's just put this thing here, and let's play the Sycamore. Got another Floatstone in there. Okay, so this guy took 80. This guy is at 110, so 150 with this guy has 10 less damage than the first one. That's all we need to know. This guy has 140 HP. The other one will have 150. if I bring this thing back to my hand. So I think I will, because 150, I don't think he can kill me. Even if he gets to a break, that's 80 plus 60, it's 140, so he's not killing us. So I'm just going to drive change here and play this thing, because we kind of need to not discard more than 2 energy. I'd actually love to have the float stone in there, but maybe my opponent is also locking us out of tools, so out of abilities again, so we just have an extra energy in hand, so I'm just going to pressure him even more. That's how you win games against Greninja, I guess. You just put as much pressure as you can on these guys. Try to make it really hard for him to just mount a stream of attackers. And right now my opponent can actually get to the break. He could have like a Greninja and a Wally. I guess that chip has sailed because he played a Shauna. So I guess he could have had... My thought was like Greninja and a break on the same turn plus 2 energy. That's 140 damage. So I guess that wouldn't be enough to kill the Genesect anyways. And it would leave us with the abilities active anyway. Which would mean that we could actually use the Bronzong, so we didn't really have a lot to worry about there, I think, even if he killed our Genesect. So he's just going to take another knockout, and hopefully that will be enough. I just wonder if my opponent is hitting us for 80. I don't think he can. I think he just needs to Shadow Stitch again, or else I will just switch attackers, and he kind of has to pretend that I don't have cards in hand, because if I do have the energy, it doesn't matter for him. So if I were my opponent, I would just play with what's in play, right? I mean, if he doesn't Shadow Stitch, I just use the Bronzong, and I'm guaranteed to have an attacker, and I can just switch the tools with the Genesect anyway. So he goes for the correct play, but unfortunately for him, I have 2 energy and the Sycamore in hand, so just use Rapid Blaster here. Just take a knockout there, and just keep the Sycamore in hand. Worst thing that my opponent could play here would be... Okay, I guess we drew a V-Seeker, that's cool. That's another out. I guess would be an N or an Ace Trainer or something like that. I guess that would be kind of painful. But unless he Shadow Stitches again, which he kind of has to, I can actually use the Bronzong and retreat from the Genesect naturally by discarding the energy, I mean. Okay, there's a V-Seeker for the Ace Trainer. Oh, come on. Any Ace Trainers us. So that's kind of bad. I hope I draw well here. And my opponent's discard pile actually has a couple of Greninja. So he has 2 left, I guess. There's 2 Trainers Mill. That ought to be good, right? Just need to draw an energy just to take that knockout on his Greninja and put him like in a very bad position. Okay, we got an N. I mean, I guess if I have to play it, I will, but I guess I can't play the Float Stone, so I guess I can't play the Ultra Ball, so I guess I just grab the Float Stone. Just getting an item out of my deck, improving our chances to draw. Okay, V-Seeker, that's perfect actually. Do I have? Yeah, I think I do. I played the Sycamore right before. I don't even remember. What the hell happened? I can't click my discard. What happened? What? I don't know what happened. I mean, I'm kind of... If I play this, do I get my access to my... Okay, I don't know what happened. There's this, like, done button over here. So I'm just going to put this thing, I guess, on the Bronzong, because it takes just more to retreat. And I can always play the easy on the Hoopa later. Don't want to play easies on the Bronzong if I can avoid it. Okay, we see the energy. And let's just put the energy there. And Rapid Blaster. Discard 1 energy. And what? Oh boy. Oh man, what a bug. I mean, you guys saw this, right? I mean, I don't really know what happened here, because we got... Okay, so my opponent concedes. Oh, I'm super glad my opponent conceded, because we were going to win the game. You guys saw that. I mean, he was just in a super bad position. He had to find another Greninja and an energy next turn. And I don't know what happened there. There was kind of like that overlay over my thing that didn't let me click OK for my attack. So it's a PDC-GO bug, which happens sometime. I'm just glad my opponent conceded there and we got the win. So that's how you win against Greninja, I guess. You just stream attackers, and they're kind of in a bad position because they don't really have that much damage output. And as long as we draw energy naturally, we don't need to use the Bronzong. We just need the Bronzong in play for my opponent to be scared of and keep using Shadow Stitching over and over again. So I guess that's the deck. I think it's actually a very good starting point for a Genesect deck. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, as usual in my videos, and I guess I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!